The hearing, South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said he's thrilled President Trump nominated Judge Kavanaugh. Watch.
The antidote to our problems in this country when it comes to judges and politics is not to deny you a place on the Supreme Court. This is exactly where you need to be. This is exactly the time you need to be there. And I am telling President Trump, you do some things that drive me crazy. You do some great things. You have never done anything better, in my view, than to pick Gorsuch and Kavanaugh.
With me now, that very South Carolina senator and Senate Judiciary Committee member. He was part of the circus today. Welcome to the show, Senator Graham.
Yeah, I think I was in the clown car with everybody else.
Man, that whole thing, it has gotten pretty wild. So I'm very curious to see what your point of view on this is. You know, aside from Judge Kavanaugh's record and some of the opinions that he's written and some of the emails and missives that he sent and received while he was in the Bush White House, this is a very critically important pick for the Supreme Court, for the president and for the balance of the court. How much more contentious is this process already than was for the entirety of the Gorsuch confirmation?
Well, it's a new standard. It's a new low. I mean, yelling about this nominee is not going to deny his confirmation. If you want to pick judges as liberals, you need to win elections. To me,
and you made that point today, and I think that's a really good point. And a lot of this is about the 2016 race, isn't it?
Oh, totally. So here's the attacks on Kavanaugh. That your view of executive power is scary and will create a kingdom in America. So when Joe Biden was arguing against indicting Clinton for his alleged misconduct, he cited an article by Kavanaugh saying that when it comes to indicting a sitting president, that's probably a bad idea for the country. Congress should make that decision, not a single prosecutor or the judiciary. When it came to a bunch of things they were saying about Kavanaugh, they had the opposite view. In '94, when Clinton was under investigation, Clinton nominated Stephen Breyer to the Supreme Court. No Democrat said we should halt the hearing until the Clinton investigation's over, and he got confirmed.
Yes, of course, and that's how things historically have gone, and they haven't been this contentious. It's interesting, though, because you have a lot of people who are present who want to be president. So you would think they would like the idea of someone giving so much executive deference.
Well, if you want to be president on the Democratic side, you got to deal with the people who are yelling. So here's
or, you know, in the case of Senator Kamala Harris, she's the one doing the yelling.
Well, here's the point I'm trying to make. If you're running for president in 2020, there's no way they're going to vote for Kavanaugh because they'll wind up like I did, get 1%. This party is in the anti-Trump mode. He's one of the most qualified conservative judges of his generation, if not the best, qualified by every measure. She accused him of being a political hack. He's a great, he's been involved in Republican politics and lawyering for Republican presidents. Stephen Breyer was Ted Kennedy's staff person for the Judiciary Committee. Ginsburg was the general counsel for the ACLU. So they get to pick their judges from the liberal bench. Apparently, when a conservative wins the White House, we can't pick a conservative. That's what she's trying to say. She is trying to nullify the election, and it's not going to happen.
All right. Now, how much worse is it going to be if the president does, in fact, get another Supreme Court pick?
I don't know what DEFCON 4 looks like, but that'll probably be it.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the next person who is nominated to that court, we are going to see dogs and cats living together. It is going to be so unnatural and unholy. But here we are, and you know, you have the senator from Connecticut saying there's so much secrecy surrounding this nominee. Do you agree with that? Do you think that he has been cloaked in some sort of an invisible cape?
Well, he's been on the D.C. Court of Appeals for 12 years, had 307 decisions, a well-defined judge, a well-defined person. He's a Republican conservative, probably the best mind of his generation, and he's exactly who I hope President Trump would have picked or any other Republican nominee. Incredibly well qualified. There's nothing secret about where he's coming from judicially. What they want is they want to lose the election but yet pick the judge, and it doesn't work that way. My Democratic friends, I voted for Sotomayor and Kagan not because I would have chose them. I thought they were qualified, and you can never convince me or any other rational person that Brett Kavanaugh is not well qualified. Again, in terms of executive power, Joe
if
Biden.
Democrats, and here's what I will say, if Democrats do have issues with some of his constitutional positions or his past interpretations, this is the time to ask them. Instead of trying to stop the process, be a part of it so you can show your constituents that you have a real and genuine curiosity for a critical branch of the United States government, last I looked.
Yeah, test him. And, you know, Roe v. Wade, you know, they mentioned that President Trump on the campaign trail said he would like to overturn Roe v. Wade. Every Republican says that. We think it was an overreach by the court. Well, Hillary Clinton on 3 occasions promised to pick Supreme Court justices who would uphold Roe v. Wade. So there's a politics around Roe v. Wade
of course,
on both sides.
And a natural litmus test for both sides that gets the more strident and foamy-mouthed aspects of their bases fired up. Senator Graham, I want to ask you about a former colleague of yours, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Obviously, the president and the Attorney General have a very contentious relationship right now. Do you think it would be appropriate for the president to ask for his resignation or to fire him after the midterms?
Well, I've seen divorces better handled than this in South Carolina. The bottom line is Jeff Sessions is a dear friend. I like him. I'm not asking for him to be removed as Attorney General, but clearly President Trump does not have confidence in Jeff Sessions as Attorney General. Like every other president, I think he deserves an Attorney General that he has confidence in. It's got to be well qualified, and to replace Jeff Sessions after the election is possible. But you would have to get the next person to say unequivocally that Mueller can finish his job, because I think that's sort of the price of admission. I like Jeff Sessions, but this president deserves an Attorney General he has confidence in, and unless this relationship changes pretty quickly, I think it's we need to move on with a choice that the president can work with. Are
you willing to say on the record that the president should appoint Nick Saban to get him out of the Alabama football program?
Well, you know what? From my point of view, everybody in the SEC would be for that except Alabama.
That's absolutely right.
You know, Jeff's a great guy. I'm sorry it got to this, but we need a relationship between the president and the attorney general. DOJ needs a voice that can, you know, that will be heard in the White House, and if we'll see what happens.
The AG has gone AWOL. We'll see what happens as we binge watch this presidency. Senator Graham, thank you so much.
Thank you.